So in previous classes, just concepts whatever we have discussed is class is one concept. Yeah. Do you have any questions on this? Any of you? No. Second, after class, being it's a virtual entity, then we discussed about how do we make this as a real entity with the help of the object concept. Any questions, please, anybody? No. Then after these two, then we discussed about methods concept. Yeah. So without class, without object, without methods, our Java will never end. Even though we are moving to any other, after this, we are going to discuss maybe some 20, 30 concepts. For example, say, in every concept, these three will be there. Yeah. So otherwise, that's why. So again, I'm asking, if you have any doubts in this, I'm happy to repeat, happy to clear what are the questions that you have. If you have no questions, then only I'll move to the next concept. I am not in a hurry to complete the syllabus course part and all. At the same time, I want you to learn, understand and learn. Yeah. Yeah. So for that, to not to delay, shall we go for some extra time and all that I'll take a call. But your thing is like, please be clear to me. And the same time, please be open to me.
Sir, sir, can you please explain the signature part, sir? Like without creating object, how to use the with how to use with signature
No,
that
that is
part itself.
static methods concept actually. Even in last class also I mentioned when you asked the same question, static methods
Sir.
can be accessed directly without creating the object. Static methods only. Okay.
No, sir. In previous classes, somewhere you mentioned about signature, no, sir. Like using in same class if there is something like you told about signature, sir. Like by using signature, we can
Yeah. So
call
same class
the
methods. Okay.
method.
Yeah. Yeah. So when
Yes,
it
sir.
comes to methods, calling same class methods, I'll don't go for a big example. Let me take one class, public class A. Inside this class, how many methods we can have? Any number of methods. So public
Number.
void m1 is my first method and its body. Since it's a void type, return statement is not required. Then public void m2 another method, but in the same class. This is another method. Yeah. Now, is it possible to access m1 from m2? Yes or no? Yes, we can access. How do we access it? Since they both are present in the same class, object is allowed, but recommended or not recommended? Not recommended. So then how do we call it? By using just method signature only. Means method name and appropriate inputs required, then semicolon. This is the approach to call same class methods is recommended. Since this is not taking any inputs, so here I am not passing any values. For example, if int x is there, here we have to pass 10. Some integer value, depends on the requirements. So this is how we can call same class methods by using a method signature only. Object creation and all possible, but not recommended because of unnecessary memory consumption. Yeah. So,
Yes, sir, yes, I got it.
yeah. Then after this understanding, by carrying the same knowledge to the next part, so first my question is, for example, say I want to display some result, display some output or display some result based on, say here, by checking the age of a person, by checking the age of a person, display the output as eligible for voting or not voting, eligible for voting or not. This is one real-time scenario, right? Yeah. Then most common thing that we use every day, that is Gmail. When it comes to, uh, okay, I'll take Gmail example for another purpose. For example, let's take our mobile or phone. So as soon as we open the mobile phone, it will ask to enter the PIN or password or some thumbprint. So for example, let me take only PIN scenario. So there is a 4-digit pin which we have to enter. Correct or not? Just any 4-digit if we enter, will it allow? No. We have to enter the correct pin which we have set before. So then only we were allowed to open the phone and to use it for purposes, right? So here, something we are checking the condition or not. If my pin is correct, then only open the phone. If your user ID and password, when it comes to Gmail, user ID and password, if these two are correct, then only take into my home page. Otherwise, throw some error. Correct or not? So here some checking is happening. Only password is correct. Sorry, only user ID is correct. Do we enter Gmail? No. Only password is correct. Do we enter Gmail? No. When both are correct, then only we'll go to the home page, right? Similarly, here also, when a particular person's age is some greater than or equals to 18, then only the person is eligible for voting. Otherwise, not eligible for voting. In any scenario that you take in our real life, everything is a conditional based on some checking, then only the results will happen. Then with our previous knowledge of class object methods, did we write any such program? No, we have just discussed method-based program, print area, print perimeter and all. If area is even number, then only print is my requirement. Did you do that before? No, we just printed any even and odd. Just we didn't check any such type of conditions. So we just discussed about methods without any of these such type of requirements. Then for these concepts, we have to go for a next one, conditional statements concept. To fulfill such type of requirements based on some condition, display some next results. So for such type of things in Java, we have a conditional statements. So just for our understanding only, what is the meaning of this or what is the definition of this? Yeah, it's a meaning. So if some part of code, some part of code to be executed, to be executed based on some conditions, then go for conditional statements. Check a number is even or not. Check a number is positive or not. Check alphabet is oval or not. So for all such type of things, we have to go for the then use conditional statements. So if this output is not based on some condition, then don't go for conditions. If it is based on some condition, then only you have to go for condition statements. All our previous programs, whatever we have discussed, they all are of conditionless, no condition there. So now if it is based on some condition, then go for the condition statements. Then next part, when it comes to Java, what type of condition statements are there? How many types are there? Any idea? Anybody? In any programming language, almost all they are there.
If
Yeah.
if
So
else.
first one is if, then followed by if else, then if else, if else, then nested conditions also. Nested if. In if only, these are the different categories. We'll discuss all those things. Just I'm listing out. Yeah. Second, any other ideas or awareness? So there is a ternary. Ternary is one more type of condition statements in Java. Then switch is one more type of condition statements in Java. We'll understand. Is one is not enough. Why we should go for others? So at the time of discussion of each concept, we'll understand. Yeah. So to start with again a new concept, the first and foremost thing to understand is syntax. Yeah. So now we will understand the syntax of if conditions. So first, when it comes to if, the syntax is if in lowercase letters, then condition, then open and closed curly brace, then inside this some Java code. So this is the syntax of a if conditions. So here if is a predefined keyword, so we have to write in lowercase letters. It's a predefined keyword. Then in parenthesis, there is a condition. So it's what type of condition? So for example, in place of this condition, if we write 1 plus 2, is it some condition or it is some result oriented expression? It's a result oriented expression. We'll get 3. Can we write 1 greater than 2? What's the result of this one? False. 1 greater than 2? False. The next, if I write 1 less than 2, true. If you write 1 minus 2, it's minus 1. If you write 1 less than or equals to 2 or 1 greater than or equals to 2, 1 is equals to 2. 1 is not equals to 2. Like this. So for all these things, we may get what type of results? It is true. And this is false. And this is also false. This is true. Yeah. In place of this condition, we have to write some expression where the result is only either true or false kind of thing, but not result oriented things. Only such type of expressions are allowed in place of this condition, simply because since true or false is a Boolean kind of data, so we can say simply a Boolean expression we have to write in place of condition. Yeah. So directly or indirectly, the end result has to be true or false. We may write directly true, or we may write some expression which gives result as true or false. So anything is allowed. So that is a conditions part where Boolean expression has to be. So it means when this condition is true, then only this body will be executed. Yeah. This is the only if. For example, in some scenarios, there will be an alternate part. There will be an alternate part. So what is the alternate part? If else. Only one condition is required. If that is true, I want to print something. If that is not true, I don't want to print anything. So in such scenario, we'll go for only if conditions, only if condition. One condition, then go for if. Then sometimes for this, there is an alternate will be. For example, I'm checking a number is even or not. Even or not. Then do we need to write two conditions or only one condition? Yeah. Even, do we need to write two conditions or not required? Just please think. For example, say, I'll take one number. I'll say this is not even. Then what it is? Yeah. For that, do we need to check one more condition? Or based on my first condition result only, I can say it's an even or odd? One condition we can check, but for that we can have alternate also. Are you getting me? I am saying I'll take a alphabet, say D. I'll write a vowel logic. If it is not a vowel, then what it will be? Consonant. So therefore, that's the alternate part. When we are checking one condition, if that condition fails, then it is some alternate result is required. Then such type of requirements, you have to go for the if else part. If else, only else, no, if else. So here, mandatory, every time condition statements has to start with if only. We cannot start a block with else. Okay. So first, if, again, parenthesis mandatory, inside this Boolean expression, like previously I wrote condition, here I am writing Boolean expression, no confusions. Then the if body with some logic. If this is correct, execute this. Or if this is true, execute this. Then what's the alternative? If this is false, then go for else. Then else will never have a condition to write. If you're writing some parenthesis with some condition for else part, then that is syntactically incorrect. Then else part. So here, again, we come with one more predefined keyword. Else is also predefined keyword only. Yeah, this is the if else syntax. Am I clear? Examples will go for all this, but as of now, I'm just talking about syntax only. Then in some other requirements, there will be multiple blocks to be checked, multiple things to be checked. For example, say if we go for so for example, if the letter is A, print apple. For example, if letter is B, print ball. If letter is C, print cat. If it is other letter, we'll use this example while discussing also. If it is other letter, then print hello. Then here how many things are required? One, two, three, and alternate are four. So in such scenarios, does our if condition is suitable for this? No, because if it is only one condition, go for if. But here multiple conditions are there. Then here, does if else will be suitable for this? No. So because if one thing is there, then its alternate is there, then okay, we can go for if else. But what about these multiple conditions to be checked every time? So for such type of requirements, we will be using the if, else part. Yeah, actually this is the complete syntax. So first initially I discussed when to go for if and when to go for if else. Then this is the mixture of all those two and with next part as well. So again, any condition block has to start with if only, and if must be in lowercase letters. Then the bool expression I'm writing, and then its body. Then followed by if alternate condition to be checked once again. Yeah, in such scenario, we have to go for else space if. Wherever if is there, directly if or else if condition is mandatory. Some Boolean expression condition is mandatory. Then next block. Like this, we can write else if once again. Depends on the requirement. Again, Boolean expression, I mean these dots. Then next block. Like this, we can write any number. Then followed by finally one else. Else will not have a condition and it must be in lowercase letters. So this is the complete syntax of if else in Java. Yeah. So in this, there are some points to be noted. At the same time, to confuse us, they may ask some trickiest way. That is, in one entire series of if, else, if, and else conditions, how many if blocks can be written? Only one. Maximum of if number of blocks. Maximum is one only. Minimum, minimum also one only because it's mandatory. It's mandatory. Maximum is also one time. Minimum is also one time. We can't say it cannot be. Right? Then after if only, else if can be there. Can we write if followed by else if? The order. No. After if requires, then it must be else if only. Yeah. So then how many else blocks are required? Maximum how many we can write? N number we can write. Minimum how many we can write? Mandatory or not mandatory? Not mandatory because in this scenario, do we have any else if? No. If required, then only we'll write it. If not, it's not mandatory. That's a minimum number of else if blocks are zero. Maximum how many we want, we can write it. Then when it comes to else block, minimum how many times? Maximum how many times? Can you write else followed by else once again? Maximum is one only. Minimum also one only. Then where is else here? In the first part. Correct or not? So if alternate is required, then only we'll go for. If not, we can make that as zero also. That's why maximum number of else blocks for one series of if else conditions is one. Minimum is zero. So these are the things to be understood. Am I clear? Or do you have any questions? No. So this is the syntax of it. After having some examples discussed, then only we'll go for the nested part. Okay. So based on this, just to understand the syntax correctness, I'll quickly write it. You have to say me, this is allowed or not allowed. To start with, if and its corresponding body to write some Java code. Is it allowed? Only if block? Only if block.
Condition is not.
Yeah, condition is missing. Therefore, because of this condition, this is not supported. Then if with the condition, then is it supported? Yes. The next else, then block. Is it supported? Only separate block. No.
If
Then
it should be.
yeah, else if condition, then it's block. Is it supported? No, because the order is wrong. Yeah. So then see if you go for next part, if with some condition, then followed by else with no condition, then followed by else if with condition. Is it possible? This also not possible.
Not possible.
The next, can we write if condition followed by body, then again if condition followed by its body? Possible? All of you. Why not possible? Yeah, this is one separate if block, this is another separate if block.
Possible.
Possible or not? Yeah, possible. Remember, okay, later again I'll write it just for your notes purpose also. Then followed by, so if condition and it's a block, then else because if is there again condition, it's block. That's it. Is it possible? Hmm?
Else is
Else is mandatory or optional? Then I'm not writing.
option.
Possible or not possible? Possible. Then because of space, I'm writing here if followed by else if followed by else followed by if condition, again it's block. Is it possible?
Possible.
Yeah, exactly. Your understanding is right. So this one is also possible. So first one, no. Second one, yes. This one, no. This one, yes. And this one, yeah, this one is no. This one is no. This one, yes. This one, yes. With an understanding of these three belongs to one series of if else, and this is a separate one. That's how we have to understand. So this is just to test your understanding of the syntax. So these are some possible and not possible syntaxes. Clear? Then now we will use this if condition. So first my purpose is let's have a example on number, example on characters, example on a string. So for that I am going very simple examples just to understand the syntax and the execution flow. So first, if I take one requirement, the requirement is print hello if a number is 100. This is the requirement. I want to print hello if that number is 100. Otherwise, anything else, nothing to do. So that's why. So let me use this one. So for this, before we go for writing any condition statements, what is the input of this program and what's the type of it? Yeah. And how many condition blocks are required for such type of requirements? Number of condition blocks are how many? Yeah. Then next, what is the required output? I recommend you to follow for this. I might not write every time, but that should be your thinking process. So first, what is the input? We are reading a number. We have to read a number. That means my input type has to be int type. Then how many conditions are required? Only one condition block is required. If only one condition, then which block that should be? Is it if or else if or only else? Yeah, one means
If
always if only. Then what's output? So do you print hello? This has to be the output. So this is the thinking process which we have to have for every question, even if condition statements also or not condition statements also. What is input? What's type of it? What's the uh, condition blocks and then output. So after understanding this, where to write and all we'll discuss later. I am purely focusing on only condition block to write. So before we write, first we have to have an input. So that's why let me take one int. Then variable name of programmer choice equals, we'll write or we'll take the number later. Why later? Because writing conditional statements will never depends on the value. It always depends on the variable only. Yeah. Output is depends on the value. Conditional blocks are depends on the variable. That's the reason I am not taking any value. I recommend you to not to take the values whenever you are writing the code handwritten. If you are typing in Eclipse, of course, this throws error. Yeah. So first conditional block to start with, if. What we have to check is that number is 100 or not. Correct or no? So here the variable is num and the value to be compared is
Equals 100.
100. I'm not okay. Equals I'm not writing. So if this is yes, what do you have to print? System dot out dot println. So print hello is a string kind of message. It must be in double quotes. Yeah. So this is the condition block. So here what we should write? Here how do you connect these two? If number equals to 100, then print hello. Is it correct? Yes or no? The answer is no. Because single equal to is called as a assignment operator in any programming language. Then here are we assigning this 100 to number, or are we comparing number value with 100? We are comparing, right?
Double equals.
Yeah, for comparison. So we know that in mathematics also, then here also same, which is a double equals operator, no space between these two equals. That is syntactically wrong. We can have a number space double equals together, then space 100, any spaces we can add there. But between these two, we should not add a space. So that's called as a comparison operator in any programming languages. This is called as comparison operator, which compares the left hand side and right hand side values. Am I clear? So once we have this program, then what is JVM's execution flow? So for that, now my writing the conditional logic is over. Now we have to think about what is the output. So for that, I am giving a sample input. For example, this is 20. The value is 20. So when JVM comes to execution, JVM comes to first line and loads this 20 as a value into this number variable to assign this 20 value to the num. Then JVM comes to condition check. This is the second step. So when JVM comes to condition check, so here num is having what value? 20. And double equals operator is comparing with value 100. Is the result is true for this or false for this? This is false. When the result is false, then will JVM enters into the body? No. JVM, once the condition is false, from here itself, JVM will go out of this condition statement. It will not enter into the body. Yeah, it will not enter. Then when JVM will enter? When condition becomes true only. So for that, let me take one more scenario. The scenario is this time the value is 100. Then first JVM's execution and JVM 100 value will be assigned to this variable called num. Then JVM comes to second line, that is condition check. This time num variable holds 100 and this double equals operator, the other side also 100 only. This result is what? This is true this time. Therefore, JVM enters into the body. So because JVM enters into the body, execute this line of code. And for this line of code, we are going to get the output called as hello in our console. So which is what our requirement also. So this is the execution flow for this program. Then since we know scanner class, can we read some integer and assign to this? Yeah. So we can use a scanner class and we can read the variable here and we can give the value from console. If you are giving something else, no output. If you are giving 100, you are going to get output according to this program. Yeah. So this is our first example to understand with example of if condition only. There is no alternate for this. Okay. Yeah. So 8 minutes, we can do one more. So now I'm asking you to write it. So with the next requirement, print hello, same thing I'm giving. If number is 100, else print welcome. Please write it. Yeah, whether you agree with me or not, only typing the program in Eclipse will never give the confidence to write it on a paper. If you are good at writing it on a paper, then only we can type it in Eclipse, because there is so much of support is there. So we should be clear when we write the program in our notes. That's how the interviews will happen, to my knowledge. So first, what's the input type? Integer. Then int is my data type. I'm not writing that thinking process and all those things. Int, some n is my variable. Okay, you can take num or anything. It's your choice. So for time being, I'm not taking the value for time being, because logic will never depends on the value. Logic depends on only variable. Remember this point. Then which condition block to start? If. What is the condition? Boolean expression. N, yeah, or num. Okay. Double equals 100. Then what which is the body of this? Yeah, print what? Print hello. Then do we have any alternate? That's why else block. Any condition? No condition. In else block, what we should write? Println, print welcome. That's it. The simplest example. Yeah. So this is the example based on numbers. So when it comes to if else conditions. Yeah. So as we move forward, we'll go for if else if and all those things. So at this point of time, I'm not discussing any if else if example. I'll go for next type. So we have still time for the same meeting. So this time I'm giving a different requirement. Again, it's your turn. So print, right side I'm writing requirement. Print. If the alphabet is A, if the alphabet is capital A, then print apple. If it is B, then print ball. If it is C, then print cat. If it is other, then print welcome. Or say instead of print welcome, I'll like to give enter A or B or C. That should be the output. Use only A or B or C. So this, yeah. So this is the requirement. Please understand what is input and what's type. Understand how many condition blocks are required. Then based on that, what is output? That's a point to think and write it.